Now time to get into the first classic on the card here at the Derby Festival. It is the Epsom Oaks, and up there 3-1 was the big price this morning. The best price for Legatissimo, the 1,000 guineas winner. The big question mark here, Matt, and we'll look back on it probably in a week's time and see whether she did get the trip. But is 4 Furlongs going to bring around the improvement? Is she going to stick it out round the Tatton corner and come up the hill well at the end?
Well, one thing's for sure, I think that Mar was definitely on the sharp side in the Guineas, didn't quite get a clear run of it, and I think in the end Ryan Moore had to kind of give the horse quite a hard race in the end, but he did get there, but didn't he do it stylishly once he hit the rising ground? He's a little bit wobbly on obviously the dip, but I wasn't so sure. Obviously when you think of a place like Epsom, which is obviously you need to be extremely well balanced, I was slightly concerned to see in the dip he was running around a little bit, but to be honest, I got a feeling that Ryan Arse might have been asking the horse in the dip, and of course that would cause the horse to be unbalanced, but as soon as the horse hit the rising ground, he did it very stylishly. There's no doubt for me he will get the trip. He's definitely got the class. We've got a classic winner, Group 1 there at Newmarket. He won, he had an official mark of 107. I rated that performance 120, and that's well up there normally for a mark that I would normally look for in a horse. But is he value at around the prices of around 3-1? I think this is quite a competitive race, and he wouldn't be for me at the prices.
Okay, and before we get stuck into those ratings, how many pounds we think, for example, Krista Zaveda is better off with Jack Naylor, or examples like that, on a more broader point, and we have mentioned, it's no surprise in a horse racing show like this, we have mentioned the name Ryan Moore twice. Ryan Moore has ridden Legatissimo, correct me if I'm wrong, Legatissimo, Crystal Zaveda, Diamonds and Rubies, Together Forever, and also one at the bottom, Qualify, which I'm afraid is off my odds list. You might pull the cat out the bag in a minute, but we'll wait to be seen. So he's ridden 4 of these top fillies here. Surely he knows which one he wants to be aboard.
I imagine he probably does. Ryan doesn't say a great deal, but obviously there'll be arrangements in place, and I'm sure he will ride the favourite here. But you mentioned all those horses. All you can say is what a lucky man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, we can't back them all. Let's try and narrow it down. We'll slide down the betting order. The market second in there is Crystal Zaveda, progressive type, typical stout, going up there to the middle distance. Got to be fancied, this one.
Yeah, obviously we didn't see the horse as a 2-year-old until September, so maybe with a view of as a 3-year-old, this is what the plan was, and you can't get away. It was very, very, very impressive at Newbury. Admittedly, only in listed company, had a handicap mark, can you believe it, 78 that day. I mean, that's how ridiculous the handicapper got it.
I'm sure you didn't have it on 78 that day, did you?
Actually, I hadn't handicapped the horse that day, but he did it really well. He was steadied at the start. He was held up. It was a good pace to that race, and he did absolutely hack up, and he went through him like a knife through butter, looking very progressive. He could be absolutely anything. To give a bit of substance to that form, I thought it was interesting. Enlightenment was in 4th, who was beaten about 7.5 lengths. Well, that horse actually ran behind Diamonds and Rubies at Chester 6 lengths. So if you do the official market, it would actually put this horse a length in front of Diamond and Ruby. So as you can see, this is the competitive nature of this race.
Absolutely. With Crystal Zaveda, the way that she won the race at Newbury, pulled out right to the right, bang in the middle of the track there, got a beautiful run through. I'm unsure whether that will happen at Epsom, the hustle and bustle coming around the last turn, the way they all sort of fall into the camber. However, one that has likened the sharp left-hand turns and the winds of a course such as Chester in the Cheshire Oaks, Diamonds and Rubies, smashed a field by 6 lengths. That's got to be top of the ratings card, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I really like her actually, Tom. She was very impressive with Chester, and just to explain it like Chester, there's never quite like Epsom, but the reason these trials are at Chester is they're always on the left-hand turn. You've got to show a little bit of speed there as well. She's certainly a very balanced horse. I'm sure she'll cope with the demands of Epsom, and this was impressive. Beaten Entertainment, which is that form line we just talked about, the previous runner, beaten 6 lengths, and had nowhere to go really. Ryan would had to just kind of sit in the home straight, just pulled her out, and she had a nice little smack on the nose from Jamie Spencer's whip. But that, that just showed him, and she had, if she wanted to, she had every excuse to back out of it. But that just kind of surged her on, and didn't she quicken up like a very, very good filly? And I thought she hit the line with a lot more horse. She's bound to stay. That was over the extended mile free everywhere. She's clearly a very, very nice filly, and she's definitely you'd be disappointed if she was out the frame anyway.
Yeah, didn't flinch an inch with that Spencer whip that came across her. Brilliant to stay on her line, really. I suppose the only sort of dark cloud around Diamonds and Rubies is the form of this Cheshire build-up, this Chester racecourse build-up. But we'll leave that alone, and it was an impressive performance nonetheless. Jack Naylor down there has actually been backed a little into 7-1 best price now. Relatively short, you could say, but an Irish Guineas performance that saw her really stride on in the last few moments has to be taken by any punter to think, yeah, the step up in trip's the right one here.
Yeah, it was on good ground last time. They tried something different in the Guineas. Richard Hughes was on, they held the horse up. Before they'd been a bit more prominent. I think it was a bad mistake that. I mean, the horse did very well. It was only beaten 2 lengths. If you'd have stopped the tape at the 2 furlong pole, you wouldn't believe that it got so close. And it's a good race that. It was Group 1 Guineas. I do think it's important for the horse might need some cut in the ground. They're saying the slow side are good today there at Epsom, but I just got this feeling that might need a little bit of cut in the ground. The form prior to that, of course, what interests me is last August, of course, the favourite for the particular race, Jack Naylor beat, given £5 over the mile there. It's a listed race. So you look at that form and you think, blimey, and I've watched that race back a few times, Tom, and there was no way, whichever way they run that race, it would have been the same result. Together Forever was in 3rd place, and of course, that's won 3 times, including a Group 1, so you couldn't get much stronger form than that. And if it come up, and I do think if it come up sort of good to soft ground, definitely of strong interest, and around the 7-1 mark would be better value than the favourite for me.
Okay, so keep an eye on that and keep your ears to the ground and listen out for Mr. Cooper's announcements as to how Epsom Downs drains. Usually a pretty quick draining course is common knowledge there. Let's pick apart the piece of form that put Star of Seville against Together Forever. Now, £4 extra was what Together Forever was carrying on the day in the Musadora. Obviously, they'll be off equal weights come Friday, 4 p.m, I believe. Will that reverse the form there?
Yeah, well, we just talked about that form with Together Forever. I mean, of course, that particular horse can improve for an extra 2 furlongs, but I just got a feeling this form might just be held. Pandora's in 3rd, had an official mark of 88. I don't know, Star of Seville kind of had its own way in front, and, Frankie Dettori quickened it when he wanted to. Didn't like the way Star of Seville sort of hung left a little bit, and for me, idled a little bit until Together Forever got to the girths, and then, they had that battle to the line. But I don't know, if Star of Seville does that at Epsom, start hanging down the camber, there's going to be all kinds of problems in behind. But I've just got this feeling this form isn't good enough and to be winning any Oaks.
Yeah, I wonder with Star of Seville, it looks a big galloping type, and possibly the, as I say, the camera, the wines of Epsom, the Tattenham Corner could be a problem. The other one to mention there for John Gosden, Jazzy Top. This is the one that the banging form this season, Evergreen Frankie Dettori will wind up on come Friday. I can't see her staying, but you're the expert, so where do we side on Jazzy Top, Matt?
Yeah, I can't have her. I mean, not just on the distance. I'm just not sure that the form. I've always had that. I followed her last year over 7 furlongs, admittedly. Just always thought that whether she fully puts it all in. I know she won last time. There's actually an interesting form there with Winter's Moon. I mean, Winter's Moon was, what was he back, sort of about 8 lengths. I mean, Winter's Moon was behind Star of Seville last year when we looked through some of that form. So that's another reason I don't want Jazzy Top, because I don't like Star of Seville, and in the same time they come out similar horses, and that Jazzy Top, that all right, he won last time at Newmarket, but that form prior to that at Kempton, that's not Oaks winning form.
Certainly not. Well, obviously it seems as though John Gosden will be playing his strongest hand on the Saturday, Golden Horn and Jack Hobbs, to be explained shortly. Just a couple of minutes left, so I do want to narrow it right down now to where the value is, where the value rater sides in this race, and if it's one that we haven't even mentioned, such as the €5 million filly Al Namar, but I take it no.
No, it won't be that. I'll be honest. I'm not going to on the show. I'm not going to sit here and just give an investment for the sake of giving one. I think this. it was very trappy wherever I turn when it comes to the odds. I think the market's, just about good. I think it's the result's going to come from the front of the market. If you made me have a bet, then it would be diamonds and rubies. If you gave me one of your £50 notes, Tom, I would invest on diamonds and rubies. I think that is probably just about the value at 9-1. But I personally would be getting involved. I think this is a race maybe to sit and enjoy.